How the pursuit of pleasure can sabotage our lives. Aldous Huxley and the Illusion of Freedom. No one is more deeply enslaved than the one who wrongly believes they are free. Though these words were written almost 2 centuries ago, they ring truer now than ever. Many of us assume we're living in a free society simply because we don't see an obvious authoritarian regime looming over us like the one portrayed in Orwell's 1984. But perhaps freedom doesn't always disappear with a bang. It can fade quietly, replaced with comfort and convenience. Instead of Orwell's bleak dystopia, maybe we're actually closer to the seductive world imagined by Aldous Huxley in Brave New World, a place where pleasure, distraction, and indulgence have become tools of control. What if our gadgets, substances, and constant stream of entertainment haven't liberated us, but rather shackled us without us even noticing? When Brave New World hit the shelves in 1931, Huxley didn't yet believe such a reality was close at hand. But after decades of war, the rise of totalitarian states, and incredible technological leaps, his tone shifted. By 1961, he warned that the future rulers of society might not rely on force to control the masses. Instead, they'd flood people with pleasure, so much of it, in fact, that no one would notice their chains. But how could pleasure become a form of bondage? To understand this, we need to explore the principles of behavioral conditioning. In the 20th century, psychologist B.F. Skinner conducted influential experiments showing how behavior could be shaped using rewards or punishments. For instance, he taught rats to perform certain actions by giving them food as a reward while discouraging others through discomfort. Skinner discovered that positive reinforcement, not punishment, was far more effective in the long run. And Huxley took this insight to its chilling conclusion. If humans could be conditioned through rewards, what stopped those in power from using pleasure to manufacture obedience? In Huxley's imagined future, pleasure wasn't just a luxury, it was a mechanism of control. Citizens were encouraged to take a drug called soma, a substance that offered everything from mild bliss to deep hallucinations, all designed to keep the public passive and pliable. It dulled the pain of reality and made people easier to influence, but it didn't stop at drugs. Traditional ideas like love and family were dismantled. Promiscuity was encouraged, and the mantra, "everyone belongs," to everyone ensured that no one formed deep emotional bonds. Constant sexual availability kept people distracted, numbed, and uninterested in resisting their system. Even entertainment played a strategic role. The government didn't just allow distractions, it weaponized them. Endless spectacles and amusements kept minds busy and disengaged. In Huxley's words, the population was submerged in a sea of trivialities, unable to perceive their own imprisonment. And now, fast forward to our own reality. Huxley asked how future societies might convince people to willingly take substances that altered their thoughts and feelings. His answer? Simply make them accessible. Today, millions rely on mood-altering medications. Opioid abuse is a public health disaster. Online access to sexual content has led to widespread addiction. Smartphones and digital media offer a constant stream of entertainment that devours attention and dulls critical thought. Are these developments purely market-driven, or are they symptoms of a deeper design? It's hard to say, but one thing is clear. The more distracted a society becomes, the less capable it is of recognizing or resisting manipulation. As long as the dominant cry is, "Leave me my screen time and snacks," Rather than give me freedom or give me death, liberty will continue to erode. When people prioritize ease and pleasure over autonomy, the system of subtle conditioning that Huxley warned us about only becomes more powerful and harder to escape. With every new app, new drug, new dopamine-fueled escape, the mechanisms of control grow more refined. If this path continues, society may eventually divide in two. One group will bask in their comfortable captivity. The other will resist, not just to preserve personal freedoms, but to safeguard the very traits that define our humanity. Because as Frederick Douglass warned long ago, the moment a slave becomes content with their chains, they've surrendered everything that makes them truly human. This modern form of enslavement doesn't arrive with violence, but with seduction. It doesn't announce itself with tyranny, but with temptation. It whispers, stay comfortable, stay entertained, stay quiet. And we obey, not because we are forced, but because we are addicted to ease, to novelty, to stimulation. The screen is the new cage, brightly lit and easily ignored. The algorithm is the new overseer, constantly shaping what we see, what we desire, what we believe. We scroll through endless feeds, not realizing that with each flick of the finger, our attention, our most valuable asset, is being harvested. We have exchanged introspection for distraction, contemplation for consumption. Instead of looking inward, we look outward, chasing the next laugh, the next thrill, the next hit of dopamine. The cost? Our awareness, our agency, and ultimately, our capacity to live authentically. Aldous Huxley feared that the future wouldn't suppress our freedom by banning books, but by making us so inundated with trivialities that we'd no longer care to read one. He was concerned that we'd stop thinking, not because we were censored, but because we were too entertained to notice. He was right. In today's world, deep work and reflection have become rare acts of rebellion. Most of us live on autopilot, waking, working, scrolling, sleeping, barely registering the passage of time, let alone the erosion of our autonomy. But there's a deeper layer to this predicament. When pleasure is used as a tool of control, it isn't just our minds that are shackled, it's our will. Over time, we lose the ability to choose discomfort, to embrace challenge, to pursue truth no matter how inconvenient. Instead, we settle for immediate gratification, soothing ourselves with content, with convenience, with comfort, until we can no longer imagine living without them. This is the most dangerous kind of captivity, the one that feels good. If we are ever to reclaim our freedom, not just in the political sense, but in the existential one, we must learn to resist the easy path. We must rewire ourselves to value depth over ease, purpose over pleasure, sovereignty over sedation. The first step is awareness. We must recognize that freedom doesn't only mean the absence of tyranny, it means the presence of choice, of responsibility, of discipline. And these cannot coexist with constant indulgence. A society that loses the ability to say no to its impulses is a society that has already lost its liberty. Next, we must cultivate discomfort, not for its own sake, but because growth lives there, truth lives there, agency lives there. We grow by confronting our fears, by turning away from distraction and toward meaning. To live freely in this age is to unplug from the endless noise, to reclaim our attention, to ask, what am I truly choosing? And what is choosing me? Huxley's prophecy was not a condemnation. It was a warning. and warnings, when heard, can become awakenings. There is still time to step back, to disconnect, to reconnect, not with a curated feed, but with our deeper selves. There is still time to fight for a life not dictated by entertainment, but directed by intention. But that fight begins within. It begins when we stop numbing and start noticing, when we stop chasing stimulation and start seeking significance, when we stop asking, "What can I consume?" and begin asking, "What kind of person am I becoming?" Freedom, in the truest sense, will never be handed to us. It must be claimed moment by moment, choice by choice. And it begins when we dare to look up from the screen, step out of the haze, and remember, we were not made to be pacified. We were made to be free. To choose freedom in a world that thrives on your distraction is to rebel. It is to unplug from the algorithm that wants to think for you, to resist the marketplace that monetizes your cravings, to walk away from the comfortable cage and toward a more uncertain but meaningful life. It is to exchange being constantly entertained for being deeply awake. And this choice isn't easy. The system is designed to reward passivity, to punish awareness. You'll be called strange for not wanting what everyone else seems to want. You'll be told you're missing out when you refuse to trade your agency for validation. You'll question yourself, often. That's the price of waking up, but you will also begin to feel something else, something that can't be purchased or streamed or injected. You will feel yourself returning to yourself. In that silence, free from the noise of endless opinions and cheap thrills, you'll begin to remember what you actually think, what you truly value, what you deeply yearn for. And once you know those things, no one can take them from you, unless you give them away. That's the heart of Huxley's message. We must be careful not to surrender our humanity in exchange for comfort. Because once we do, we won't even notice that the chains are there. They'll feel like bracelets. They'll look like rewards. We will laugh while we're shackled, scroll while we're silenced, consume while we're conquered. So the real question is, how much pleasure are you willing to trade for truth? How much convenience are you willing to sacrifice for clarity? Are you brave enough to be bored? To be still? To be fully alive? Because in the end, freedom isn't about escaping oppression, it's about refusing sedation. It's about turning off the screen and tuning into yourself. It's about choosing the hard path, the quiet path, the honest path, again and again and again. We don't fight this battle with weapons, but with presence. And that, in a world designed to keep us distracted, might be the most radical act of all.